So, in this module, we're going to be talking about meditation and the mind. Meditation is a big subject, but it can also be demystified because I think people often think that meditation is something very lofty, something hard to do. And it's really not that unnormal. There are things that we do in our life that are like meditation. And so if we can tap into those things, it will be easier to understand what meditation is and how it can be valuable to you. So there are a couple of concepts in yoga philosophy that I think are really helpful for understanding what meditation is. And the first concept is pratyahara. Pratyahara is also often translated as withdrawal of the senses. And for many years, I really hated that concept, withdrawal of the senses. We don't want to do that. That makes us feel like we're withdrawing from the world or disconnecting or detaching. And I think that that can lead to bad stuff. But if we understand what it really means, it's really a great thing because you're not exactly withdrawing the senses, you're just pulling the senses back from their usual state of going outward into the world. To me, it's a little bit like a cat withdrawing its claws in. They're not going away, they're just being pulled into the paw so that they're not always attacking or going out there. So if you think of it as a uh, pulling in of the senses so that you can use those senses for internal exploration as opposed to external, world about you. You're looking here, you're looking there. That's how we go about our day, is using our senses to navigate the world. So all we're really doing is taking the time to take those senses and pull them inward so that we can use them to do some self-exploration. So that concept is really important, pratyahara. And it doesn't mean that you are withdrawing from the world in any way or life. You are very much connecting with life when you do that. Okay, so that's the first concept. And then there are some other concepts that I think are also really useful when you start to think about doing a meditation. And these are called the three gunas. The three gunas are tattva, sattva, and raja. So we often talk about rajasic, sattvic, or tamasic. And these can be very confusing ideas because we often want to associate good or bad with them. It's bad to be one way or the other. Tamasic means in its worst state, it can be really dull, but in its best state, it means stability. Rajasic, in its worst state, can be really hyper and overactive, but in its best sense, it can be active and alive and motivated. And then sattvic is the balancing of these into a state of uh, bliss, we'll call it, or an evenness of spirit, so that you have that feeling of being very both stable and aware at the same time. So those three gunas are always at interplay. So your body might be very active, rajasic, hyper, but your mind could be really dull and not alert. And then it could go the other way. Your mind might be super, super hyper, but your body is dull and inert. And that is why the yoga practice includes asana for the body, pranayama, breath work for your breathing, and then these meditation practices for the mind. And that is a way to balance these gunas depending on your state on a given day. If your mind is very rajasic, then you might want to do a meditation. If your mind is very dull, then you might want to do an asana practice. And that's why in this course, we are often talking about body, breath, and mind, because yoga is all three, and there is no one exact way that it will always work for you. It depends on where you are on any given day. So when you think about meditation, you don't have to think about something extremely alien to you. If you've ever said a prayer, if you've ever just blissed out in nature, if you've ever just been, had a feeling of being in the moment, or if you're just, your mind is completely absorbed in something, those are all kinds of meditations. So as you're practicing meditation, you're increasing the ability to be able to do that at will, not just when it happens to you, but when you want to make it happen. So that's the meditation mindset that you should have when you start a meditation.